Dun, 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 dun. Alondra's Crash Course. So, hello everyone, my name is Alondra, and this is going to be my crash course. What my topic that I chose to talk about is going to be chronic adaptations. So, just a little bit of information to get started off before we, kick in and start with talking about the whole chronic adaptations is our exercise response. So, a little bit of information that I wrote behind this flashcard would be your exercise response refers to the movement of blood from one area to another as a response to your demands, obviously. And single exercise session can accurately reduce your triglycerides, your high density, the lipoproteins, the HDL cholesterol. It reduces your blood pressure and improves your glucose homeostasis. And then aerobic adaptations. So just something that I wrote down to know a little more, or something to remember about the aerobic adaptation would be, so I drew a picture of lungs, obviously, right? I tried. So here, something to know, like I keep mentioning, is your lungs efficiency improves. And then, ta-da, your chronic adaptation. So chronic adaptation, and basically what it is, or something short to remember it by, it refers to long-term effects on one or more of the body systems as a person sustains their exercise habit. Something that I wrote down here to remember it by is stick to it. So what happens is, this is something that happens long-term, and it's a long-term benefit. So people usually say if you stick to something or you stick to a certain exercise, in the long term, or in the long way, it changes, or your body kind of adapts to, the certain exercise plan and stuff like that. And then just a little bit of stuff to know about it. So cardiovascular, or what happens with the cardiovascular system during this whole thing. So obviously the increased size of your left ventricle, your increase of stroke volume, cardiac output, and obviously I drew a little heart here, and the blood leaving the heart occurs as well. So an example of what happens as well with the whole chronic adaptation is that your muscle mass increases. So here I tried to draw an arm, and the muscle, and the arrow pointing up, meaning that your muscle mass increases. And then here we go, my picture. So here I drew a person running towards the finish line, and I drew the whole 5 kilometers. And what happens and whatnot. Well, first of all, what happens during a 5 kilometer, run and whatnot, your heart rate increases, your respiration increases, you start breathing harder and whatnot, you have the release of hormones, and your increase of neuromuscular activation. Okay, so let's see, how do I explain this one? Okay, so for example, if you're not a very fit person and you decide to, go and run the 5 kilometer run, more than likely you're going to find this hard to do, right? Because your body's not used to it, your heart rate is going to rise, your respiration, increases drastically, you breathe harder and all that stuff. So more than likely, over the next couple of days as well, your muscles are going to be sore. So, since your body's not used to it, and this whole thing, and you're not fit, and you just out of nowhere decide like, oh, let's get up, let's go run the 5 kilometer, your muscles are going to be sore, you're not going to be used to it. So let's just say in about a span of 2 to 3 weeks. So if you don't do any exercise, right? So in, let's say, a span of a few weeks, you try to do this again, with the whole trying to run the whole 5 kilometers, right? So instead of doing the 5 kilometer run, just like I said, in a span of a day, you just go do it. In the span of 3 weeks, you run the 5 kilometer every third day. So over a 3 week period, your body would adapt to it. It's just an example of how I'm explaining it to you. So this is because repeatedly you're asking your body to do more. It's getting used to, but you're not allowing, or I'm sorry, not that you're not allowing, you are allowing enough recovery time, because like I told you, you would run every third day. So you would allow your recovery time and whatnot, so your body would adapt to it. So this is what happens in long term with the whole chronic adaptation. And then real quickly, I'm just going to jump to acute responses just to refer back to it because I wanted to compare. So acute responses is an immediate response, and your rate increases. You know, your heart rate increases. I have no. What did I put in the warm? Oh, in a warm up. I'm sorry. So your heart rate increases in a warm up and etc. You know what I mean? So immediately, what the whole acute response is the immediate response. So this compared to the whole chronic adaptation, the chronic adaptation is the whole thing where you stick to something and it's in long term. So it refers to something long term. So again, if we compare the whole acute responses and the whole chronic adaptation, or chronic response if you want to call it, the acute is immediate and the chronic is long term. So something that doesn't happen as fast as the other one. I really do feel like I already made this video really long. So this is going to be my conclusion of my video. I hope you all understood it and learned a little bit about it. So thank you all for watching.